As the title may suggest, it's time for the shark to get its nom on. Alright, let's take a look. Now, we've got our shark and our fish sprites. Both are at the bottom of the screen. For our shark to be able to eat every single fish that appears, it's worth noting I could put the code in either place. But if I put the code on the shark, like I'm about to show you, I could join those two together and I don't need this one. Yes, then I've got the next one. If I put the code on the shark, every single time I add a new fish, so as you see from the fish at the bottom of that screen, fish 1, I'd have to check that it was eating fish 1, or if it was eating fish 2, or touching fish 3, or fish 4, or fish 5, or touching the crab or the octopus, or anything else that I add in as sort of like an enemy or as something that's part of its food chain. That would make the code extremely difficult to maintain. It would also make it extremely difficult to, just add new items, because I'd be constantly having to change the code here. So instead, let's not put it here. Let's get rid of this dude. Might need him later, so let's leave him there. I'm going to put the code on the fish. So the first thing you need to do is make sure that you're on the fish. Because if I put the code on the fish and duplicate the fish later, the whole fish and all of its code, then forever in this if loop, I can be checking to see if it's touching the shark. Don't need to know if the fish is touching fish 2. Don't need to know if the crab is touching the fish 2. Just need to know if anything is touching the shark. Because if it is, we're going to score some points. So in my data tab, I'm going to create a new variable that's available to all sprites. Because if from the sensing bar the shark is touching this fish, then I want to add 1 to my score. Ah, yes. And I want to broadcast a message that says that I've eaten. What should we call it? Will I call it at the start? Nom. Okay. The broadcast will come in later, but right at this moment in time, I might want to then hide the fish, so he's no longer touching him straight away, and wait a few seconds. And it could be a random one, couldn't it? It could be a random number of seconds before it reappears. Sounds like a good plan. Where was operators? Pick a random number between... He's got to go for at least 3 seconds, isn't he? And come back after about 8. You don't want him on too long. At this moment in time, there's only 1 fish, so that'll take a lot of testing. And then I want to show him back up. This should work. Ooh. Do I want to put this in there as well? So it randomizes his position before it shows back up. Let's do it. Okay, let's test it. I've got a little fishy in my little dishy. Will my shark catch it? This is where I show that I'm bad at video games and can't catch a fish. Okay, gotta wait for the fish to come back. My score has been added by 1. Oh yes, it was an easy catch. Scores by 2. Now the problem is when I restart the game, I start with a score of 2. I've created another error. No.